So in terms of who I am, well, I've been doing this work since 2015 now. Okay, so I've been illuminating people's soul purposes. I have been recoding people's blueprints, and I've been helping people to shift into higher timelines and to really more rapidly transform into the person that they've always come here to be, so they can deliver their soul purpose in the world. So I didn't always do this work. It was a complete revelation to me that I was here to do this work. I was 16 years in corporate. You know, I was a business manager, asleep in the matrix, didn't believe in any of this stuff. I was spiritual, but I wasn't aware of multidimensional spirituality, let's call it. I wasn't aware that we were more than just physical beings here in a physical body. I did believe in a higher power, but I didn't understand that there were different realms and realities of experiences. So I was in corporate for 16 years. The last 7 years of those were absolutely agonizing for my soul and for me, because it didn't have any purpose attached to it, right? So this is all about decode your destiny today, and I'm sure that some of you who are joining this can empathize with me, right? Maybe some of you are in what I call the soul-sucking jobs, the soul-sucking careers still, and that was where I found myself for many years. As I say, 7 years before I eventually left corporate. You know, it was very low in meaning for me. You know, I was getting up every morning, I was putting my mask on, I was pretending to be interested and enthralled in my job. And, you know, it was just paying the bills, you know, and that is a very, very challenging place to be when you're in that place and you're just turning up and it's like you're ticking the boxes, but really you're longing deep inside of you to do something more, you know, to do something meaningful, to help in the world, to be of service, you know, and something that truly makes your heart sing and something that you can feel really passionately about in the world. So I was very dislocated for many, many years. I was very different in corporate. You know, I didn't really understand a lot of the corporate types. I much more hung out with the creatives. You know, my friends were all the creatives, and I was like, you know, just really in the wrong place for me, for Ariella Indigo, right, who was the person that I became, and realized that I was an indigo, realized that I was an empath, realized that I was a intuitive. All of these different types of things were revealed to me when I went through a very, very profound spiritual awakening. And it was supernatural, you guys. It really, really was. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't have, as I say, different realms and realities in my belief system. So you can imagine my surprise when one day, and this is absolute gospel truth that I'm sharing with you, one day I woke up and there were two 6-foot-tall light beings stood in my bedroom. I kid you not. Okay, so that was a rude awakening, as you can imagine. But here's the truth. It actually took me about 5 hours to admit to myself that I had even seen them. So out of my belief system was it. What I had been experiencing for many, many years was what I now understand to be psychic phenomena, supernatural phenomena, spiritual phenomena. I'd been having different experiences actually from a little girl, from birth, visitations, I'd been seeing things, but I was very, very frightened of all of this because I did not have it in my belief system that other realms, other realities existed. So I just used to tell myself that it was my imagination. I didn't really talk to too many people about it because I thought it was quite weird and that people would think that I was weird. So it was all suppressed, right? My reality and these moments where I'd kind of go through the veil, right? I suppressed it, and I was incredibly fearful of spirit, of ghosts, of any type of, you know, phenomena or you know, beings from other reality. It just, I didn't want to know about it. I found it very frightening. I was quite curious about horror movies and things like that, but it ended there. I certainly didn't believe in it. Okay, so part of my awakening was to see these beings in my bedroom. And here's the thing, I would have thought that I'd have been absolutely terrified about that, but strangely I wasn't, because the energy that they had was very loving. It was very peaceful. It was actually very protective. I felt protected by them. And what happened subsequently to that is that I started to receive many messages, okay? And I had one experience which was a challenging experience for me, because it was like the fabric of reality just stretched in front of me, and I saw a future version of myself. But guys, I struggle to describe how it felt when this vortex, this portal was opened in front of me, because it felt like the whole of my being was stretching with it and was going to explode. It was very, very, very bizarre. But I was shown things, okay, and by being shown things, I mean externally to me, you know, playing out externally. And I was shown aspects of myself, a future identity, whereby I was obviously living a very different life than the life that I was living at the time in corporate. You know, in fact, I was on a stage, I was speaking to a huge audience. The audience were cheering, they were pumping their fists in the air. It was like the energy of revolution, right? And I was seeing through my eyes on the stage. And I just knew that the whole of the audience were what I like to call indigos, right? The new paradigm, like leaders and way showers and the ones of you. And there's going to be like, and you know, I'm just looking at how many we've got here on the count. We've got 111 on the count as I'm just looking up there, right? And that was also a part of the awakening story. But all of you are here to be way showers and contribute and serve and support the evolutionary shift that we're going through on the earth plane. Okay, you wouldn't be attracted to me, to my message at this time, to understanding your soul's purpose if that wasn't true. So welcome into this space if you are new to me, and welcome to really discovering, all right, the things about you that are going to surprise, delight, inspire, and motivate you to make the key changes that you're going to need to make in your life in order to fully align with, and not only align, but to deliver your soul's purpose. Yeah, so this is the start. This workshop today is the start. Decode your destiny. We're going to go deep into revelation today, but there is so much more, okay, apart from this workshop in terms of taking action and the things that are required inside of you and external in your action in order to fully deliver your soul's purpose. And I'll talk to you about some of those as well. Okay, cool. All right. Well, good to see that you are back, Athan. Patricia can relate to everything that I'm saying. Wowzers, wowzers. Well, welcome. We're here for a reason, right, Patricia? Amanda, powerful opening. Super cool. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Thank you. I'm so appreciative for all of you new guys who are here. It really is amazing to see the light bulbs go off for people. All right. This is what I love to do. This is very much part of my mission of what I'm here to do, to help people to really journey home to their true selves, to remember who they are so that they can transform into the person that they've always come here to be. So I've got kind of two hats. I've got my soul purpose hat. You know, I'm a guide, way shower, illuminator of people's soul purpose. And then my second cap that I wear is I help people to deliver their soul purpose through actually creating soul purpose businesses around their gifts, right? Around their superpowers. So that's more the action step, where people who know that they're here on big missions, or they're here on sacred missions, right? That there's something that they get to do in the world, that they get to be an impact in the world. Those people also hire me so that they can actually make that impact in the world by wrapping an enlightened business, a soul purpose business around their gifts. Okay, so let's make a start. Thank you, Ethan, for dropping the link there in the chat. So yeah, absolutely. If you haven't downloaded your profile, then there's a link. There's a link for you to do that, and it's just a free link to download your profile. Download the ebooks. On that page there is another link if you did want to purchase my full ebook to get all of the descriptions of the codes in your profile, along with a 9-day Decode Your Destiny course. Then you can do that for just $27, I think it is, which is well worth the investment, you guys. But with the free version that we're sending, you also get a whole load of information. That's all you need for this workshop today. Okay, so let me share my screen with you, and we're going to start on the illumination that I have for you today. Okay, all right. So first of all, anybody recognize this slide on the screen? To the screen behind me as well. It's a bit of my mantra, really. So the fundamental thing that I want you to know and I want you to go away with is that it is your name that is the key to unlocking your secret codex of creation. Okay, so everything that you're wanting to know about yourself can actually be decoded from the sound vibration of your name. And we're going to go deeper into this, but it's your name and your birth name in particular, okay, that reveals your blueprint and how you are coded to create. It reveals your soul purpose, in other words. We'll go deeper into that, but that's the premise that I'm coming from. And I'm introducing you, some of you who are new to me, to this new system today. For those of you who are not new to me, that are in the community already, welcome back to you guys. Love hanging out with you guys. And we're going to be going deeper into your soul profile today. So let's start with a few of the basics here. So first of all, what is the soul blueprint? Okay, what is the soul blueprint? So I talk about the soul profile being your soul blueprint. So actually, what is that? So first of all, your soul blueprint contains highly detailed, coded information all about you. It really does. It contains the memories of everything about you, not just from this lifetime, but from all your different lifetimes. It's actually the storage center for your higher purpose. It's where your higher purpose sits and resides, and it's where your superpowers, your talents resides. They all sit within your soul blueprint. So your soul blueprint is otherwise known as your fifth dimensional operating system. And I've got a slide in a little while that's going to show you actually where the fifth dimension is and where your soul blueprint sits, but it sits at the soul level, because at the level of the soul, otherwise called the causal level or the causal plane of existence, which is the fifth dimension. So the concept is that when we first split from source, our soul blueprints were fresh, clean. They were 100% connected to source. We were divinely perfect. We still are divinely perfect, but they were fresh, they were clean, they were fully operating in the way that Source had created us. What then happened is that over time, throughout these different lifetimes that we've had, different experiences that we've had, we've all made decisions that actually took us out of alignment with our highest soul purpose. And it thus created blocks, restrictions, and karma in our soul blueprint. So I call this code corruption. Code corruption. Unfortunately, it happens to all of us, right? It's inescapable. The code corruption happens because of the choices that we made that took us out of alignment. We forgot that we were Source. We forgot that we were the divine. We forgot about our superpowers, our talents, and we started to fall for the illusion of separation. We started to have these denser experiences. And all of this over time created this code corruption, the karma, the restrictions, the limitations, the patterns that we're all experiencing in our reality, these looping, suffering patterns that I'm sure for most of us here, we can identify, and we're like, we're just sick of that playing out in our relationships or in our work. It's the same looping patterns all the time. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of the code corruption. And that unfortunately meant that we were unable to express our divine nature in the way that we were created. The really great news is that you can restore your soul blueprint. Okay, and this is something that I'm going to be sharing with you later on today when we get to the recoding part. You're not stuck with it, but you are going to need to claim your sovereignty over your blueprint, and you are going to need to restore it, upgrade it, and recode it, okay? Because you don't have to live with these looping patterns. In terms of accessing your gifts and your talents, which I know will be a big question for you, is for us all, like, how do I unlock these gifts, these talents that I have inside of me in my soul blueprint? The answer to that is that accessing your gifts depends on the frequency of your blueprint and where you are on your ascension journey or your evolutionary journey. At different points, depending on your frequency, depending on the amount of divine responsibility, honestly, that you hold inside of you, right? Because it would be divinely irresponsible to give us all of these superpowers when we're not at a frequency or at a stage in our evolution where we can actually do good things, right? With the power that we're being given here. So it really does depend on how stable you are and how far progressed you are on your evolutionary journey. So let's talk a little bit more about our names then. I'm gonna share with you now why our names are so important. And I really want you guys to understand this, that it's predominantly your birth name, your full birth name, exactly as it's written on your birth certificate. Yeah, that contains the DNA coding of your soul blueprint, right? These codes, and you can see an example here of my profile, Ariella Juno Indigo, which no is not my birth name, but it is my name now. And your other names also do add a layer of experiences, a layer of frequency. But guys, it is your birth name. That is your foundation blueprint that I really want you to look at as part of this workshop. But all of those numbers that you see there in your profile, they are what I call creation codes, okay? They are all creation codes. They are the alchemical building blocks of your reality. And each code has talents. It also has challenges. It has ways that it plays out. It has ways that it manifests. And each code has its own creation story or creation stories, which really give us huge insight into why we are uniquely here. And I'm going to be sharing with you 3 popular, common creation stories as part of this presentation. And most of you will have at least one of these codes in your blueprint, okay? So it really is your ascension map. You know, this profile of yours, which will either look like this one on the screen, a Merkaba, a 6-pointed six-pointed triangle or star, sorry, two triangles, six-pointed star. This is your evolutionary map. This is your ascension map. And for those of you who are new, and for those of you who are old, you have really been gifted something incredible here by the universe to help you to remember who you are, and also to help you to align with who you are. I remember the day very, very clearly, back in, I think it was 2014, early 2015, when I first came in touch with my profile, and it absolutely blew my mind. It really did. I had a reading with an incredible alchemist, and what she told me about myself was absolutely so accurate and uncanny. It just, I couldn't deny the truth that I was hearing, and who she told me that I was becoming was absolutely mind-blowing to me, as well as all of these, messages that I was receiving, the clairvoyant images that I was seeing at that time. It was absolutely an extraordinary awakening time. And I really believe that this comes to you, your profile comes to you at a time when you're ready to wake up to the truth of who you are. And I really recommend exploring your profile, going deep, deep, deep into it, right? I have read and reread my codes now. I've been doing it for, since 2015. And every time I read up about my codes, or I contemplate, meditate on my codes, there is always more and more insights for me. Okay, so as part of this workshop, as I say, you can download your profile for free. There is also a video on the page. Perhaps Ethan, if you could pop that in the chat again for us. So they have the link for that. There's an instruction video on that page. It gives you a bit of information on how your profile is structured, okay, and the core elements you need to know about. And also, if it is your wish, there is a link on that page so that you can purchase my full ebook, $27. You also get a 9-day course as well with that, 22 audio transmissions from me as well about each one of the creation codes. And I can just promise you, it will pay and pay and pay and pay you back for the rest of your life. It truly will. Okay, it has been, I would say, the biggest directive magical tool that I have ever come across. It's changed my whole life, and I hope it changes yours as well. So let's have a look at this. Let's explore this. Why are our names so important, right? Because you might be like, okay, sounds a bit weird, Ariella, your names are creating your reality. How does that work? Well, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. I'm going to share that with you now. So the premise that we're coming from here is that it is the sound vibration of your name that's creating your reality. Probably for most, if not all of you, it's not going to be a new concept for you that sound is creative, right? This has been proven by science that sound is creative. Sound waves, sound frequencies, sound vibrations is creative. And actually it goes way back, right, into many, many different traditions. Even in the Christian Bible, of course, it says, in the beginning was the word. It says, in the beginning was the word. It was actually the sound of God's spoken word, let there be light, also in Genesis, which first put into play the creative energies which made our reality. So many, many different traditions share this philosophy about how the universe was created. In Hindu, think about Hindu, of course, they sound the word Om. They chant the word Om being the sound that they believe created the whole reality, the primordial creative sound, Om. So it's in many different traditions. Science, progressive science, is now catching up with it. But every single word that we speak, every thought that we think has its own frequency. And so therefore does your name. Your name has its own unique sound frequency. And your name is no coincidence. Your soul actually gave you your name And in fact, it telepathically transmitted your name to someone. Normally, it will be to your parents. Sometimes it might be to an aunt, an uncle, a friend of your parents who just said, oh, you know, I just was thinking today, and the name dropped in, Holly, whatever it is, right? You know, and your parents would be given a name. Your soul is speaking through different conduits, people who can hear the different names that your soul has for you. And there's not just one name that your soul had for you. There was a few different names, not many, because if you think about it, and if you're a parent yourself, you will know that when you came to name your child, actually, in the end, there was only a very, very few names that you would have considered calling your child, yes? There was only just a couple that felt right, that sounded right. And that's because it's coming from the soul. And that's because the name contains the coding of the blueprint of the experiences that the soul is going to have in that lifetime. Right? It's the name, the unique identifier, one of our unique identifiers, how we're coded in the matrix, if you like, that contains the coding, which then creates soul growth for us and the experiences that we have here in this reality. So in terms of this system, this is a Hebrew system. So this system, it decodes your name into Hebrew phonetic sounds, and then it places it around a Star of David, the Merkabah. It's going to be a star for most of you. For some of you who have got what is considered to be a short name in the system, you're just going to have a triangle, right? Neither one is better or worse. Whatever you have is absolutely perfect for you. It was deemed by your soul. But Hebrew is a sacred language. It's a creative language. This has been known in different traditions now for a long, long time. Hebrew is an original language of light. And the 22 Hebrew fire letters, they're what I call the creation codes. So the numbers that you see around your profile, your star profile, or if you have a triangle profile, those numbers, they're creation codes. And they are also Hebrew fire letters. They are letters of the Hebrew alphabet, okay? So it is therefore your name, and as I say, this is primarily your birth name here, along with the astrological conditions of when you were born, your cultural background, and the time that you're born into. These are the things that form the basis of your embodied reality. Okay, so if you go to see any, astrologer or anybody who's working on this level, they'll always ask for your name, they'll ask for the time that you're born, the date that you're born, where that you were born, right? These are all our unique identifiers. And this system works with your name. It's just your name, okay? So I want to give you a quick introduction to the system. So the system is not new, it's old, it's ancient, in fact, extremely old. It was around thousands of years ago and was purported, and I believe was around in Atlantean times. It was around in Atlantean times, and then when we had the fall of Atlantis, it was then taken into Egypt. So we used to, when we were a fifth dimensional planet before the fall, we used to be born with the knowledge of what our soul blueprints were. We used to be fifth dimensional souls at that time. So we would be born as our oversouls, essentially, walking on the earth plane, which is why there were so many masters here at that time. And we would be born with the knowledge, the direction of how our soul wanted us to experience this lifetime. Yeah, the key direction, the key focus, in order so that the soul could have its greatest growth. It could evolve. Okay, because that is the point of us all being here. It's all about evolution, the evolution of our soul, the evolution of our planet, the evolution of humanity, the evolution of our universe, the evolution of our multiverse. That's the evolution of our galaxy. That's the whole reason that we're here. So it's ancient. Where it comes from, there's an ancient text called the Zephyr Yetzirah. Okay, the Zephyr Yetzirah is a very ancient Jewish text, okay, because it formulated a lot of the Jewish mystical traditions, the Kabbalah, and a lot of ancient alchemists read the Sefer Yetzirah. It's a channeled book, okay, it's a channeled book, and the Sefer Yetzirah translates to the Book of Creation, and the Book of Creation, the Sefer Yetzirah, it shares this creation theory with us, that it was the sound of the Hebrew language, which when God spoke it, created our universe and created the material reality. So that's where it comes from. And that's why all of the Jewish mystical traditions revere and worship so highly the Hebrew alphabet, okay, because it actually came from an ancient book, an ancient text called the Sefer Yetzirah. So it's that book that provides us with the underlying foundations of the code. It was an incredible channeler called Dr. Frank Alper, who actually channeled the basic interpretations of the system as we know it now around the Merkabah. Okay, he was the one who provided the star of creation, the six-pointed star, okay, and also used the gematria method. Gematria is a form of Hebrew numerology that Dr. Frank Alper used in the 1980s. He's unfortunately not with us anymore, but he certainly left his legacy behind through channeling this system and through channeling the basic interpretations of the codes, okay? So it was purported to come from the soul of Moses. That's who Frank Alper said that he was channeling the descriptions from the soul of Moses. And he is responsible, as I say, for channeling the basic interpretations of the system and also the symbols that you see on your chart as well. Since then, since Frank, there are a few, not many, master teachers whose mission it also is to bring this system through. And I am very honored to have realized myself to be one of them, okay? So it's a sacred form of spiritual numerology. As I say, gematria is a sacred form of spiritual numerology. I actually reconnected with the system very early 2015. I have given so many thousands of readings at this point, well over 3,000. I think I'm probably into the 5,000 now. I've lost count a long time ago. I teach this system. I have created a certification program around this system. So we have what we call quantum creation oracles, okay, which are out there in the world. They're giving soul purpose readings, and they're also upgrading people's soul blueprint. Okay, so this is my connection to it. Also, back in 2018, I was given divine dispensation to actually work with the creation codes at a higher level to become a channel. Essentially, I am a channel for the codes. So I can work with people to actually upload the codes into your blueprint. I work 7th dimensionally, 5th dimensionally in order to do that, to do the recoding, to do the upgrading of the blueprint, to essentially support people to restore their blueprints, okay, so that the code corruption we spoke about earlier is released from the soul blueprint. And as a master teacher told me a few years back, I have now become the codes. They literally are a living, working, breathing coded matrix inside of me. They really are. It's just, I see everything through the codes. I really do. All right, you guys. So hopefully this is helping in terms of an introduction to the system. I know that we're going deep here already, but I did promise you that today was going to be a deep session. So let's go deeper into this, and let's turn the lens now on you and why, if this moves, here we go, why you have uniquely had the life that you've had and where all of that was leading, okay? So first of all, so that we can look at this through this lens, we need to understand the game of separation. Da, da, da. It feels like one of those moments, the game of separation. So look, here's the big picture. You probably know this, but as a reminder, before we incarnated here as personality expressions of our soul and of divine source, we chose to experience certain themes in this lifetime in order to learn, in order to grow, and in order to evolve. So spirit, higher consciousness, and this was the purpose of it, we chose these experiences so that spirit, higher consciousness, our souls are able to experience life through us. So it was actually your soul, along with various guides, masters, and helpers, combined, they all chose an original blueprint for you that would create the optimal experiences so that your soul and so that higher consciousness, ultimately, because we are all one, could evolve. Yeah. This is what I was saying earlier. It's all about evolution. The purpose of us being here is for us to evolve our souls, evolve higher consciousness, evolve planetary consciousness. It's all about evolution. So the truth is, and your truth is, you, every single one of you here, every single one of you watching back this replay, we all have these incredible gifts, divine gifts, soul specializations that we're here to unlock, activate, and share. Every single one of us, without exception, has this. So all of your life experiences, I want you to see this, everything that you've been experiencing has been preparing you to align with and embody your soul's purpose. All of your experiences, the good, the bad, unfortunately, the ugly as well. There was a reason that we have created our realities this way, and our higher purpose was always there. It was the undercurrent, okay? And these experiences were ultimately created for you to align with your higher purpose. So I promised you some clues to look out for so that you can align with your higher purpose, okay? So I've got some clues for you on the next few pages. Not yet, but a little bit later when we share your worksheets with you, you will also see questions in there which you can answer. And I suggest that you do that after this workshop while it's fresh for you still. So here are some sacred clues, right? So you can discover your higher purpose because your higher purpose is always encoded into what I call your unique creation story. So we have to look at where you've been. Okay, we have to look over our shoulders back to where you've been, who you've been, the experiences that you've had, because this is going to help us to connect with the golden thread that was always there weaving through your life path, which is going to give you clues to how your higher purpose plays out. So here's some clues. The first thing to look at are pain points. Okay, so these pain points, examples here could be that you struggle with anxiety, depression, you had perhaps addictions, a health crisis, maybe you had low self-worth, could even be the death of a loved one. Maybe you were having psychic experiences, you were bullied, you've gone through messy divorce, you've had money issue, right? If you look at your pain points that you have experienced, those pain points, those big challenges that you faced and you've confronted in your life, they reveal gold, they reveal talents. After you go through those experiences, and some of them I know are extremely, extremely confronting and difficult, but after you go through them, you will always take a lesson, a gift, something with you, okay, that often becomes what you're then teaching or sharing in the world. You know, the amount of healers who have been through health crises in their lives, you know, the number of people who are, you know, divorce coaches, therapists, right? They've gone through messy divorces themselves. They've been there. You've been there, right? So we need to look at where you've been. So that's the first clue. The second one is definitely to look at the areas. There's something that you feel passionately about. Okay, this also holds a big clue as to your higher purpose. It could be a cause. It could be some sort of creativity. It could be a sport or an activity. Think about the things that light you up, right? That you feel that you love doing, right? That you feel passionately about. The third is a natural talent that you have. We are all born with natural talents, actually. You might have to dig a little bit. And sometimes it's so natural to you that you don't think it's a talent because it's so obvious to you. Okay, but it could be a natural talent like painting, writing, being a prolific networker, connecting with people, being good at business naturally, being good at making money, singing, right? It could be a God-given talent. Quite often, it could be something that you dreamt of or you just knew about as a child that you've forgotten. I knew when I was a child that I wanted to be a teacher. Now, I could never understand this for years because I hated school. I was completely rebellious and I was very much anti-authority, that type of thing, right? So it wasn't exactly, an A grade sort of goody two-shoes student by any stretch of the imagination. But there I was in my spare time as a little girl, pretending that I had a class inside of me and conducting lessons, right? And sharing information, kind of a bit like what I'm doing now, right? But in a completely different way. So it's very, very, it can be very interesting and very illuminating to look over your shoulder to who you were, to start to get these clues. And remember, you've also been given some big clues when you study your birth name in the soul purpose system, the system that I'm introducing you to. Now, you're going to get some huge clues in there about what your soul destiny is, your talents. It is all in there. The challenges that turn into your greatest gifts of gold, it's all in there, guys. Also, we need to look into how our higher purpose feels when it comes online, okay? Because the really good indicators to know whether you've connected to your purpose or not is how you feel about your day-to-day existence, what you're doing in the world, if you like, or what you're doing with your time, and how does that feel? So when your high purpose comes online, your work, it doesn't feel like work. I mean, I was 16 years in corporate, right? What I do today is a very different feeling to how I felt when I was in corporate. The time flies by. It feels like my passion. It feels like my bliss. It feels I'm so connected to my creativity. Ideas are coming through all the time, right? I'm here on a Saturday doing this workshop with you because I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And my soul gave me the guidance to do it today. So I'm doing it and I'm happy to be here with you. Your high purpose is all consuming and nourishing. When it comes online, it literally has its own mini ecosystem. Time just flies by, and it completely nourishes you. In fact, you feel often that you don't need many things outside of your higher purpose when it comes online, which can trouble your relationships. Actually, it can be like, hello, are you still here? Your spouse can, depending on your spouse might get a bit annoyed because you're spending so much time in your creative bubble. Your higher purpose really can help you to transmute your challenges into your greatest gifts of gold. It really can. It really can. And it serves you in that way. Your high purpose normally comes with a beautiful healing and heart opening of some kind when it comes online. So it can be things like putting down addictions. I used to be a 20-a-day Marlboro Lights girl, gave up smoking, right? When I went through my spiritual awakening, when my mission came online, totally gave it up. It could be breaking through depression, but you have this sense of purpose, you have a sense of belonging. Your higher purpose is actually a channeling state. It really does come from your soul. You totally do lose track of time as you're working. And the great thing is that you then can look back on your life and everything starts to make sense of where this was all leading for you and why you got funneled down different experiences and had to do different things. It starts to make a lot more sense. So those are some signs And hopefully you guys are looking at that and you're assessing this yourself to see, you know, whether this is how you are feeling. And if it is how you're feeling, then it means that you have connected with your higher purpose. Some indicators here, because I think it can be useful to compare the two, that you've not yet connected with your higher purpose. Definitely the first one is that you dread going to work. This is me. You dread going to work, or you put up with your work situation just because it pays the bills. That ain't your higher purpose. You're in your uncomfortable comfort zone of illusory security. Yeah, it's not your higher purpose. Yeah, your comfort zone. You're not in your zone of excellence or genius. If you are living your life consciously or unconsciously, trying to fulfill somebody else's dream for you, could be your parents' dream, right? They wanted you to be a lawyer, they wanted you to be a doctor, whatever it was, but it doesn't feel right for you, but you're trying to please somebody else, you know, and fulfill their dream for you. That ain't your higher purpose either. Or if you're somebody who's clinging on to status, to job titles, to old ego identities and masks, okay, a bit like me when I was a business manager in corporate, it was a mask, it was status, it was an ego identity. You know, I had to release that and to allow myself to actually emerge, the true me to emerge. Also, if you're piggybacking on somebody else's dreams or their drive and their ambition, you know, so if you're in a partnership, let's say, and you're with somebody who's very driven and who's somebody who's got a really good sense of their higher purpose, you know, if you're piggybacking on the back of that, as opposed to finding out what you are uniquely here for, then that is also an indicator that you need to go deeper and get more intimate, really, with yourself. If you're somebody who's not pushing out enough, not taking enough risks due to fears, could be financial insecurity for you, could be fearing what other people think about you. So you're playing small and safe, fear of failure, fear of success, right? All of these things can keep us playing small. That is not going to be how your higher purpose is revealed to you. Your higher purpose is going to take you being courageous. It's going to take you taking the initiative. You know, I call this like going into the dark woods, right? You've got to go into the dark woods, and you've got to go into the dark woods alone in order so that the path can be revealed to you. And here's the thing, you're never alone. Your soul's there, your guides are there, right? You've got a whole team of helpers who are absolutely rooting for you to win. You can feel like you're alone, and it should feel like you're alone, okay? Because you need to confront the shadow, the dark aspects of you. That's what the dark would symbolize. It's your own dark aspects, so they can be, the dragons can be transformed into the butterflies. Also, the last indicator here is that you're in victim, right? You're blaming others for how crap your life has been, right? Your parents, you know, I mean, I appreciate there's a time where we, you know, a lot of us go into healing and therapy, and we're looking at all of this stuff that happened in our family systems. But at some point, when it comes to you connecting with your higher purpose and delivering it, it's taking responsibility that you are the powerful creator of your reality, right? And that all of these experiences were created by you in order to help you to come home to you. So I promised you, I hope this is helping you guys. Drop me a yes in the chat if this is supporting you so far. I'm going to be sharing some creation stories with you next. It's just the intro. Cool. 111. Like that, Krish. Like that. I promised you that I would share with you 3 popular or common creation stories that you will definitely have at least one of these codes in your blueprint. All right. So if you've looked at your birth name in the system, if you have a 9 anywhere in your profile, could be a 9-9 or an 18-9, the way that you see it in your profile, then you have got this code and you will probably resonate with the following creation story. Code number 9 is divine power. Okay, so a common creation story that goes with this code, people that have it in their profiles, and particularly if you have it in a challenge position, possibly a goal position, soul destiny, then you are a soul who's experiencing itself as an aspect of all that is, remembering how powerful you are. You may therefore initially create scenarios and relationships which are disempowering for you. Okay, disempowering for you. Let me know, you 9s, if this is making sense for you. You're claiming back your power. So you may create scenarios and relationships initially that can feel disempowering, possibly even abusive to you, while you learn and remember yourself to be so powerful. Yeah, cool. Setting boundaries, absolutely, Simone. Yes. All right, so the second creation story is concerned with code number 4, divine abundance. Okay, so if you have this in a challenge, goal, or soul destiny position, you're probably going to resonate with the following creation story: that you are a soul experiencing itself as an aspect of all that is, remembering that you can create unlimited abundance, unlimited abundance. Therefore, you may initially create scenarios where there are survival issues, poverty issues, fear of economic insecurity, fear of scarcity. Okay, so if you've got 4s in your chart, then you probably relate to some challenging money stories. Yeah, if you have got this in challenge, in goals, or soul destiny, could be ups and downs in abundance. Where are my 4s? Let me know if this resonates with you. Third creation story. Third creation story. Code number 8. Code number 8. So divine values is part of this. Divine embodiment, you could also call it. So this is a third creation story. You 8 in challenge, goal, soul destiny would definitely resonate with this one. You are a soul who either may not have been to the earth plane before, or you may not have come here very often before. So you therefore may initially create experiences where there is huge oversensitivity, right? Huge oversensitivity to the density of the earth plane, density to the physical plane, and huge oversensitivity, especially when it comes to your emotions. Where are my empaths? Drop me a yes in the chat if you can, if you're resonating with this. All right. So a lot of oversensitivity, wanting to escape the earth plane. Okay. Your soul consciousness not wanting to fully ground, incarnate into the physical form. And this can lead to all sorts of disconnection from the physical plane, disconnection from the body, disconnection from feeling emotions, being able to be present and emotionally available. Yes, this can often be the story of the 8s. You know, 8s can be super high frequency. And when they're in challenge positions, if they're in a talent position, then you could feel very grounded and you've always felt a good connection to your body in the physical plane. But if they're in a challenge position, possibly goals, possibly soul destiny, then this could have been you struggling with this. Yes, Martine. Yeah, having 3 lots of 8/8s. Yeah, well, definitely you will understand this creation story. So you can start to see, guys, and this was what the purpose was behind this, sharing the 3 different codes and creation stories with you. You can see that all of these codes, they start to create an experience, a blueprint of experience of how we're experiencing reality here. Okay, it's all to be discovered in your blueprint. So in summary then, we all have incredible superpowers, gifts, and a higher destiny that we've come here to serve, we've come here to embody. The reality is, unfortunately, that most of us are accepting mediocre rather than going after our dreams, and we therefore end up playing small. In order to activate your gifts and your higher purpose, you have to face and transmute the illusions that you've been carrying with you and that you've created, which are holding you back. I definitely recommend looking to your blueprint, understanding what your unique creation story is for the biggest clues on what your highest destiny and your superpowers are, because those 3 creation stories I've just shared with you, divine power, the money story, and also the embodiment story, often when you transmute that, okay, in yourself, that's what you're here to teach, that's what you're here to share in the world. Really, really do use your spiritual roadmap. It's found you for a reason. The soul purpose profile, okay, the information that I'm sharing with you, for those of you who are gonna purchase the full ebook, okay, which comes with the course, the 22 audios, you'll go a lot deeper into it. Okay, I really recommend getting to know your profile. Use it. It's your roadmap. It's found you for a reason, and it will guide you through your evolutionary journey. It truly will. You can use it as a map for the rest of your life. You really, really can. So what I want to share with you next, I want to share a few more slides for you in terms of the next steps for you, really, now that you have started to decode your destiny. I want to share with you the next step that I believe that you need to be focusing on to really take this to the next powerful level for you, yeah, with your blueprint, with your higher purpose, with you stepping forwards as a creator in your reality, right? Because what you don't want to do, and it never works, is to do nothing and wait for your destiny to happen to you. That ain't never going to happen, right? I'm sure a lot of you don't think that, but some people do, right? And there's some spiritual teachers that are teaching that. And it is the reason why, unfortunately, a lot of people are becoming very disappointed and disparaged. And some people even are dying, right, without delivering their higher purpose, and feel very frustrated about that because they have followed the guidance that this is some sort of passive journey here on the earth plane, and that our destiny is just going to download or it's going to magically appear. And then we wonder why we don't feel that zest for life, that enthusiasm to get out there and share our gifts, and that passion that comes from connecting to your higher purpose and your creativity. You know, because none of these things are passive, right? You have to take action, and you have to take aligned action in order to discover and deliver your soul purpose in the world. So let me continue here with the share that I have for you, a few more slides, because your next step from here is to actually decide your destiny. Okay, we have been focused on decoding your destiny, and you've started to do that, or you've gone deeper today, or there's still stuff for you to do. Of course, you could decode for the rest of your life. All right, that is the truth. And you will be decoding for the rest of your life. But what really separates the people who are successful in delivering their higher purpose missions from the people who are the passive bystanders who miss delivering their soul purpose missions is the empowerment piece that comes in, the invitation to actually decide your destiny. Okay, so I want to quickly here dispel some myths. Okay, so often clients and people within my community, because I've given thousands of readings now, so I know what goes on in people's psyches. Often people think that you are at a personality level, you just have to put up with your destiny, with your soul purpose, with your soul blueprint, right? That it can't be changed, that your soul gave it to you. This is the thinking, your soul gave it to you, so you have to live this out, you have to slog it out. Okay, now I'm not going to teach you or encourage you to do anything which is out of alignment with your soul, but what I am going to share with you now and invite you into the space of is becoming a co-creator with your soul, right? An empowered co-creator, which you are, and you can step into, right? It's the invitation that's there for us all. We all have free will. We have a lot more power at a personality level than we often believe that we do. So you are not a powerless victim to your soul blueprint, having to go through this suffering and, you know, whatever the patterns, the code corruption that resides in your soul blueprint is for you, and however it's been playing out for you. You don't have to continue to have these patterns playing out. You can claim sovereignty over your soul blueprint. It's yours, the same as everything else that you can claim sovereignty over, that is also yours. But here's the thing, most people don't, right? And old religions, old spirituality taught us that our destiny was something which was decided by God, right? It was decided by God, and we didn't have a say in it. Things have changed a lot on the earth plane, a lot on the earth plane. The earth, believe it or not, and it is difficult to believe sometimes, I realize, because of all of the problems that we have on the earth planes, a lot of which we've been looking at earlier today. Earth is now at a time in its evolutionary history where we have like left spiritual school. We have graduated, right? We are being given much more responsibility now here on the earth plane. The responsibility comes at a time when you are ready for it. And I mean the responsibility of deciding your destiny. Okay, it came to me back in 2015 when I was at a stage in my evolution, my ascension journey, where I could step into my higher purpose and be responsible enough to step into my higher purpose, so that gifts and talents that I had latent and dormant inside of me could be activated. The fact that you are here now and we're having this conversation, you would not be here. You would not be allowed to be here. It would not be on your radar if your soul didn't think that this was your time and that you were ready to be responsible enough to decide your destiny. It's not like you are doing anything without the say-so and agreement of your soul here. I wouldn't want you to think that for 1 second. What you are doing is you are becoming a co-creator, a collaborator with your soul. And basically your soul is saying to you, hey, do you want to change the trajectory, right? Do you want to shift into a different timeline and a different blueprint of experiences so that you can evolve in a different way than the way that you've been evolving up until this point? Yeah. And not only that, but often when people get connected with me, it's because their soul wants them to have a whole new blueprint of experiences uploaded, because it's time for them to shift and for them to evolve rapidly. And it's time for them to start unlocking some more gifts, talents, skills, personality traits inside of themselves, which actually serve their higher purpose mission. So I want you to watch this and to listen carefully here and just feel whether these words are resonating with you. Okay, if they are, then this is really a great choice point, you could look at it at a turning point, a crossroads in your reality, where you have been given the invitation to decide how you wish to create your future, essentially, going forwards, right? So your next step is, for those of you who are in resonance, to decide your destiny. I'm going to share a great quote here from an incredible philosopher, teacher, architect of our time, a structural genius, Buckminster Fuller. A lot of you will know Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Okay, so this is really what I'm presenting to you now as your next step, is essentially to create a new blueprint, right? An altered blueprint, some new codes and a recode of you, so that you can actually choose the way that your future is going to play out for you. Okay, so the way that this works, and this really is about creation mastery. Okay, this is when we elevate from being the seeker, because the seeker, all the seeker wants to do is to decode, right? Illumination, illumination, illumination. And there's a lot of people who are, quite frankly, stuck in the spiritual community on illumination. But we're talking about creation here, and we're talking about you stepping into a more powerful version, essentially, of yourself that is choosing the way that your reality is going to be manifesting from here on out. There are 3 different ways that this can happen, okay? And I call them the 3 sovereign pathways. Pathway number 1 is that you could recode your blueprint, okay? So this is something that I help people with, and I have done for quite a few years now, to actually bring in new coding into their operating system, their blueprint. I used to upload them 5th dimensionally. Last year I got access 7th dimensionally. So each one of those 22 codes, I also am a channel for. Okay, so a way that you can shift your reality and you can bring in new talents, new gifts, is by recoding your blueprint, choosing, with my help, the codes that you want to have uploaded into your field that you're going to be using to create your reality going forwards. Okay, there's a code for everything. That's pathway number 1. Pathway number 2, where you've hopefully seen now how important your names are when it comes to creating your reality. Something I've also been helping people to do for many years now is to tweak, change, or optimize their names. Ariella, Juno, Indigo, right? Some of you here, I may have supported you as well. It's powerful, powerful work to optimize your name, to change your name. If you just change your name even by 1 letter, it doesn't have to be radical, doesn't have to be Ariella, Juno, Indigo, right? That was radical. But it could just be a small change, like a tweak to a letter, or inserting a new middle name, perhaps. And that new spelling of your name and the way that it sounded, that new sound vibration of your name, will give you a new blueprint of experiences. Now, pathway 1, pathway 2, both of those pathways does not mean that your birth name blueprint, which, as I say, is your foundation blueprint. Okay, the way that I want you to look at this when it comes to names, because I know you'll have questions about how do my other names influence my reality, create my reality. The fact is that they do. Your other names do influence your reality, but your birth name is the foundation. Okay, the way to look at it, your birth name is your mission. Your other names that you've used is how your mission is going to play out. right? Depending on what you're calling yourself at a certain time is how your mission's going to play out. But your birth name is your mission, right? So with pathway number 1, recode your blueprint, and pathway number 2, tweak, change, or optimize your name, your birth name blueprint is still the predominant creative force structurally, right? It's your energetic structure, which is creating everything in your life, okay? Pathway number 1, pathway number 2, when I work with you to do that, it brings in additional codes, which adds an additional layer of experiences for you within your blueprint. Still very powerful. It still shifts your reality, but it does not replace your birth name blueprint. That's what I want you to understand there. Pathway number 3 does. Okay. And this is where it gets extremely interesting. It's not for everyone. In fact, it's only for the few. This is where I help you to build a brand new master blueprint. It gets uploaded 7th dimensionally, and it becomes your predominant operating system, which is responsible for creating everything in your reality, including you physically, your reality, everything in your reality. It supersedes your birth name blueprint, in other words, okay? So those are 3 different pathways. Pathway 1, pathway 2 is open to everybody. Pathway 3, I have to check to see whether it's something that can be done for you and is going to work for you and is right for you. Okay, it's only for the few. All right. All 3 pathways shift your trajectory, how your higher purpose is going to play out. Yeah, it doesn't change what you've come here to be, what you've come here to do, but it does shift the trajectory, and it brings in new talents, new gifts for you to play with, right? Because we're all master creators here. We all have that power, and it brings in those new codes, those new talents, so that you can choose how your life path, the direction of your life path is set to unfold, and the gifts and the talents that you have while it's doing that. Recoding your blueprint also can help you immensely to transform the challenges that you're currently having in your reality. So all 3 of these different pathways will help with that. Yeah, so if you've got some sticky, stubborn patterns, which quite honestly you're just done with, right? And you're like, I'm so done with this, like, get away from me, release, then a really great way to shift out of those for good and properly is through recoding your blueprint in one of these 3 different ways. So let's talk a little bit about actually why I think you should consider recoding your blueprint. Let's get grounded here. So the first one I've already spoken about. So your blueprint is the operating system. It's your higher dimensional operating system, which is responsible for creating your reality, right? We spoke about, to begin with, that we're all experiencing this code corruption, what I call code corruption, which is the distortions, the limitations, the karma, the restrictions that we all have 5th dimensionally, actually, in our blueprint, because that's where they reside. And then we experience them 3rd dimensionally. And that is a result of the different choices that we've made in different lifetimes, different experiences that have taken us out of alignment with our true divinity. So those looping patterns you're seeing in your relationships, in your life, with your money, with your health, whatever it is, it's because of a code corruption which is happening in your operating system, right? And I've got a really good slide coming up for you, which is going to show this, demonstrate this in a moment. So you want to hack into your operating system. You want to claim sovereignty over it. And this is an opportunity for you to do that with your soul, with your higher self. Okay, so that you can actually shift and evolve fast. Second point here, it's how you speed up your evolution when you recode your blueprint. As I say, it releases the code corruption, the distortions that you have in your field. When you upgrade your soul blueprint, you also shift up frequency bands. So this is really key to understand, because when you shift up frequency bands, you get access to a lot more things, opportunities, abundance, love, like joy, all of those things, right? That we're all wanting. So when you upgrade, it allows you more access to deeper soul gifts, deeper monadic gifts. Your monad is your oversoul. It allows you to feel a deeper unified connection with source, right? Because you don't have the same code corruption. It enhances your manifestation power, which is always a good thing. It helps you to activate your higher abundance. You go up abundance frequency bands. It enables you to make a much bigger impact with your mission. You'll be able to access more divine love, vibrant health, and just essentially live for longer, fuller, and enjoy your life. Plus, you actually, when you recode and upgrade your blueprint, you actually raise the frequency of the planet as well, because we are all one, right? Everything's connected. So I want to introduce the soul blueprint recode process to you, and I want to talk to you about what you need to know about this to decide whether or not it is for you. The first thing that I really want to impress upon you is I am not going to try to fix you. You are not broken, so why would I need to fix you? You're already divinely perfect. You truly are. I'm going to help you to transform into that higher identity, your higher self, if you like, but that was always there for you. You're not broken, right? You don't need to spend the rest of your life healing, cleansing, fixing yourself. In fact, what happens, guys, and drop me a note in the chat here, what do you think happens when you have it in your belief system that you need to fix yourself because you're broken? Do you think that it enables you to attract joy and love, or do you think that you carry on with the illusion of creating more suffering in your life because you think that you're broken and you need to be fixed? Which one do you think it is? Yeah, the illusion continues. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I definitely recommend, if you're on that train, and I was for a long time, and most people are, personal development, in the personal development communities and in the spiritual communities, you know, everybody's talking about working on yourself and cleansing, clearing. And, you know, each time you go into a new course or you sign up for something where it's got that as the intent, right, that you're trying to fix yourself, guess what happens? You might have a short-term hit and a short-term high, and you might get some short-term results, but sooner rather than later, you're going to go back to square one because you still have a belief system inside of you that you're broken and that you need to be fixed in some way, right? So number one rule here, I am not trying to fix you. There is nothing wrong with you. Right? You are not broken. What I do, as I say, is I help you to transform out of resistance encoded in your soul blueprint back to your natural divine perfection. And I do this by connecting to your superconscious. You could call it your higher self if you'd like to. This is the part of you which is a higher dimensional part, which creates all of the memory and all of the pathways, and is, in fact, is creating absolutely everything in your reality. Because what is actually true, and I'm sure that you can see this, you have your main personality, right? But you also have lots and lots of sub-personalities, other personalities, other parts. And when these parts of you are in contention, in conflict with your main personality, let's say your main personality, you know, let's say, you know, at the start of the new year, you've got a goal, you want to smash it out the park this year, you want to make 6 figures in your business, 7 figures in your business. That's what your main personality wants to do. But let's say you've got other parts of you which are still dwelling in the, well, I'm not good enough, I don't believe, right? You've got conflict and you've got clashes, and that's what then corrupts the manifestation process from being able to quickly happen for you. The great news about the Recode process is it gets all of your parts, all of your personalities working together, so you can be one unified yes. All right, that's how it works. When that happens, all parts can then let go of the resistance, the blocks to satisfaction in life, and the blocks which are creating the pain and the suffering. When I connect to the superconscious, your superconscious, I'm actually able to discover which parts are creating the resistance for you. What I then do is to share commands which treats the resistance, okay? It treats the resistance drops out, and it leaves all of the wisdom, all of the gifts, all of the talents behind. After we do that, you choose, right? You then choose the codes, the creation codes that you most want to work with, right? And I take you through a process so that you can do this, but you choose the codes based on what you most desire to create in your life. And then we upload them into your field, 7th dimensionally, okay, with the help of your superconscious. This little picture here is just showing you like what the superconscious is, okay? So the superconscious is a field of information. It surrounds absolutely everything. So there is you here at the center, this black dot here. There is you have a field around you. Then you've got your family's field, and all of these things do influence how you're creating your reality. But as you can see, the superconscious is the field which is around all of that. You know, if I'm your coach here in the middle, I have my field, I have my family's field as well, and the superconscious surrounds all of us, okay? So it's the one unified field, if you like, okay? So the important thing, as I say here, to note is that you're not broken. I'm not trying to fix you. It's a rewiring job where you are the creator of it. You choose how you want to be coded going forwards in order to create your reality. And the amazing and beautiful thing is that there really is a code for absolutely everything, right? There's a creation code for everything. So whether you're wanting more love in your life, more abundance, more business success, more spiritual gifts, more happiness, to make more impact on the earth plane, whether you're wanting to enhance your communication skills, to increase your well-being, if you're wanting to attract a larger following so you can make a bigger impact, there's a code for absolutely everything, okay? And I can take you through a process so that you choose the set of experiences, that you're wanting to create going forwards, and then we work with the superconscious to upload them. So I said earlier that I'd be sharing a little bit more on the superconscious and what it is and where it's located. So hopefully this diagram depicts that for you. So the superconscious actually resides at the 7th dimensional level. I'm sure it goes higher than that as well, but the energetic structure, the energetic blueprint, which is responsible for creating everything, is actually at the 7th dimensional level. It's the atmic level, and the atmic level is the higher mind, right? It's the higher intelligence, if you like. So that's where the superconscious is. Your soul blueprint actually sits on the 5th dimension. Okay, so I shared this earlier with you. So the 5th dimension is the soul level. It's also called the causal level. It's the 5th dimensional soul blueprint which has the code corruption in it. So that's why we need to go higher, okay, higher into the 7th dimension to actually resolve and shift out the distortions from that level. So 7D is it's literally pure consciousness, okay? It's the field of pure consciousness, potential manifestation. It's the spark of creation of everything in your universe. And at the 7th dimensional level, at the atmic level, we are connected to all that is, okay? So this is the level of you that we will be working with. We all have these different bodies, these different dimensions of who we are. So when I work with clients to do the recoding work, I'm working with you at your 7th dimensional level. A bit of information and science here in terms of how the recoding actually works. Okay, so when I'm helping to recode people's soul blueprint, how does it actually work? Well, it actually works by quantum physics. Okay, and I'm going to explain this to you, but specifically it works by the law of entrainment. The law of entrainment, and this is where I was talking about earlier, where we have this amazing situation on the earth plane now whereby modern progressive science has proven a lot of the things that the mystics were saying for years, which was previously unproven. So quantum physics, the law of entrainment, it has proven that sound is creative. There's been lots and lots of different studies on this, but how recoding your blueprint works, it actually works by entraining, it's entrainment, entraining your blueprint to a higher field of consciousness via sound vibration and via specific commands and a connection of when I work with that 7th dimensional aspect of you. So entrainment means, and we have this example, this great example here, which would be common to many of you, I'm sure, of the grandfather clocks. Because entrainment means that any 2 vibrating bodies will try and synchronize with each other. So if you imagine a room full of grandfather clocks, okay, and the pendulums tick, tock, tick, which is sound vibration, right? What studies have shown is that over a period of time, they will start to synchronize. The pendulums will start to synchronize with each other. And the way that they synchronize is always that the dominant vibration wins. That's how entrainment works, okay? So the weaker vibrations, if you like, end up entraining with the more dominant, the higher frequency vibrations. And this, by the way, is the reason that you should always have a coach or a mentor or a guide who is where you're wanting to go. Because when you work with them, you will be in their field and they will help to entrain you energetically to help you to get to where you go more quickly, because you're actually leveraging their energy, you're entraining their energy, right? So it catapults you, catalyzes you to more quickly go where you want to go. So that's a little bit how it works. And really my area of expertise as a master blueprint builder is to recode blueprints. And the way that I do that is because I'm a conduit, a channel for high frequency energy, and I channel the creation codes. Okay, so this is my specific area of expertise. As an indigo, right, which was all news to me back then when I had my spiritual awakening, but have been overjoyed and honored to serve in this way ever since. So quick demonstration, which I think you'll appreciate here, of how the blueprint works, right? And I was talking about earlier about code corruption and how the patterns, the looping patterns, right, which are keeping you restricted. So this is an example of let's say you have an intention this year to make money, right? Because it's an easy to understand example. So in this example, you are the captain, right? You're always the captain of the ship. Okay, this is your ego personality. You're the captain of the ship. Your job as the captain of the ship is to bark out orders, right? What you want, where you're wanting to go, right? What you're wanting to achieve. So you can see here the captain, he wants to make more money, right? That's in his sights. That's what he wants. We have here the crew members of the ship, which are actually here depicting the unconscious levels of our personality. So we have the ego personality. We also have the different unconscious level to our personality depicted here by the crew members. Now, as you can see, they're not very busy. They're kind of standing around. They're not even really hearing the captain's commands. Okay, they're not in alignment to make more money. Why? Because you have the ship here, which is your energetic blueprint, which is the super conscious aspect of you, right? This is your 5th dimensional blueprint. And as you can see, it's a leaky ship, right? It's a leaky ship. it has this code corruption, it has the restrictions in it. Okay, so the crew members are not hearing the captain when he's saying he wants more money. Why? Because you've got code number 4 here, which is out at sea. It's either not even in the blueprint or it's in a challenge position, right? And this is why you've not been able to create money, because it's not activated in your blueprint, right? So I'm giving you an example of creation code number 4 here, which is the money code. If you have it in a challenge goal, soul destiny position, if it's not activated, if you're constantly in survival, wondering why you don't have money, then the reason will be it's not properly activated in your blueprint, and therefore you're going to need to have some recoding, okay, to help you to access these codes. So this example could be for anything: more love, more joy, more happiness, the relationship of your dreams, whatever it is that you're wanting now. If it isn't in your blueprint, or if it's in a place in your blueprint where you can't access it, then the ship ain't going to steer in the direction that you want it to go, essentially. All right, so I hope that helps by way of explanation. But the really great news is that you can code in new instructions into your blueprint, right? This can be changed. Your blueprint can be changed. And if you're hearing this, if you're feeling this, then basically your soul is saying to you, here's an opportunity for you to recode new instructions into your blueprint to get you where we want to go. Your soul and you wants you to go. Yeah. So the work that I do when I recode people's blueprint, it really takes them from feeling powerless over their blueprint, like there's this blueprint, right, which is just, you know, creating their reality, and it's sometimes creating chaos, to actually feeling like you are a sovereign creator of your reality, deciding your destiny, not being a slave to your destiny.